Is my thing delaying at all? Because it's been like a bit funny the last few weeks.
That's what you get for having too much money going through your internet connection. It's
That,
fine.
that,
It's fine at my
that's
side.
sweet. Well,
Um,
that's great.
but in the spirit of people watching this probably don't know who you are, they might not even know who I am. I'm going to prompt you with a hook because all good content's got to have a good hook. $960,000 a week from an AI advertorial system is a huge claim. And a lot of people are going to be like, is that even possible? If it is possible, how the hell is it possible? So on and so forth. So this conversation is going to be about not necessarily that number, but how you got into that situation and what you've built and what I've had the privilege of seeing behind the scenes that you're working on to make this possible for other people. So, can we start there? Can we start with
Sure.
960 grand a week for a single client with a handful of advertorials?
To be fair, I did not think that was the number either. I,
Mm,
you know, so basically, let's go back to the start of that. Got this client through Upwork. They wanted, basically, they were doing affiliate marketing at that point. They wanted VSLs every day, like short like leads to go to a big VSL on ClickBank. So I basically start with that client, and we start doing that for a while. And they're paying good money. So I was like, well, these guys must have like, they must be doing something right. Basically, it's two guys in Thailand, in Bangkok, Thailand, two English guys, just living the life, making money online, basically doing what we all wish we were doing, really. Um, but they kind of have this side project where they're like, "Hey, I'm hiring copywriters to do advertorials. Do you know anyone, or can you do it?" And I was like, "Actually, yeah, advertorials is like my thing. Like they're my favorite thing to write. I can do as many as you want, basically." To start off like 300 USD in advertorial, and yeah, we kicked off. Um, yeah, and I've probably worked with them for about yeah, I've still worked with them like now, but probably about a year into it, maybe a bit under that, but maybe like a year to 15 months. I was kind of like, okay, I've done a lot of this. I've probably done over 100 advertorials. Like, surely one of them has made seven figures. Surely. Like they'd message me every now and then and be like, oh yeah, it's performing. Can you do like an upsell page? Or it's performing. Can we do like another version? Or can we do like this angle? And I'd be like, yeah, sweet. And then there would be like $150 because it's like a half advertorial or something.
yeah.
Um, yeah. And then so I messaged them and I was like, have we got any results? And they were like, yeah. Well, here's one screenshot of they like blurred out all the names because they didn't want anyone to hack their funnels. They like blurred all the names of the funnels, but they were like, basically, here's a screenshot of one of the Funnelish accounts. Funnelish is like a builder that you use to like make advertorials. It's one of the best actually that's out there. It's really easy. Um, they were like, yeah, here's a screenshot. Got like $15 million in the screenshot. That's the one that we've all seen. It's gone around a little bit. It's on Tom's Twitter all the time, every 2 weeks.
Yeah, those are
Um,
rookie numbers. I need to pump
like,
those numbers.
yeah, I know. They were basically said, here's one screenshot from one financial account. We've got a bunch of accounts. We've done over 50 million since we started together. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool, right?
Mm,
That's a lot bigger than I expected. I was like, yeah, maybe one ten figure, Um, so yeah, that's kind of how that kind of came to be.
mm.
And I'm not sure what the number's at now. Like this was probably back in May. But from what I could tell, like they're like, yeah, these are doing better than ever. Like every one of them pretty much works.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's kind of how that came to be. So I guess the 960K in a month, or in a week, that's kind of that averaged out over a year.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the kind of money that like isn't getting made every day that people don't really see. Like
Yeah.
a lot,
And this
a lot
is
of this,
the power, like before we hit record, we were just talking about your, I guess your origin story as a copywriter and like discovering DR as a young person and stuff. And this is the power of the advertorial. Like before we get to talking about the system that you've built and that you're the specific way that you're leveraging AI, which is a whole thing in itself.
Mm,
Just even without that layer, the power of the advertorial, I mean, to me, like similar, right? Like the early Ogilvy ads, it's like the first things that you're like, oh, I feel really drawn to this. This is really cool and has this, it's cool because it's effective and it's obviously made tons of money. So you have this sort of ego level thing about it, but the quality of the storytelling and the writing and the idea is really unique as well.
absolutely. Yeah, this is like you read them now and you're still like drawn into them. Like some of those Joe Sugarman ads, I just like read all the time and I'm like, "Oh, I just can't put it down." Like the Ogilvy stuff as well. I think Joe Sugarman has this more like accessible sort of style. I mean, Ogilvy's feels a bit more, very much more premium, more like, speaking to like a higher classes and
He's either speaking to a high class reader or he's speaking down to you and you're like, please, sir, can I have some more? You know?
yeah, he's got a bit of a power play going on.
Yeah.
But Joe Sugarman is like, it's just like, oh man, I just found these glasses and they're sick. Like, try them on. You need to try it. Like, this is what they're made out of. And I met my mate, and then he showed me them, and it's like this most beautiful like curiosity sort of play where it's like the benefits are all there, like the fascination's all there, and
Mm,
it's like I think Blue Block has sold like 10 million, like just the ad itself over like a
mm,
few years ago. But like these things make money, man. Like that that people like love reading things like this. It's kind
yes.
of the way it works. Like, people are interested in things that are interesting and interest them and they can see in their lives and affect their lives in certain ways. So the modern avatar is a bit different. It's kind of like the closing the gap between like an ad and a sales page. I mean, it's quite different to a sales page, but it kind of closes that gap and brings brings this like a friend recommended this sort of feel to it. It's much more like rather than a sales page, which is always generally like written at a person. Like an advertorial
Mm,
is always kind of written sort of about someone else or written like a news story about something interesting. Or like the tone is one of the biggest point of difference. Like,
yeah.
you find that the sales page is written at you, and it's obviously like, you kind of clear that it's a sales page, but it's like directly at you. It's like, hey, do you care about this, like this and this?
Yeah.
Whereas advertorial is more like, well, this is this insane story that happened to me, and I still can't believe it, but I want to tell you about this. So that's kind of
Yeah,
like
it's where the tutorial part comes in because the sales letter is, the frame is, I received this in the mail from like a trusted friend. That's the
yeah,
conversation. But I think a lot of people, particularly like maybe younger people coming up in the ecom world today, just their relationship with the news is so different from people 20, 30, 40 years ago. Like
this was going
the
to be the next point.
editorial world is it's kind of it's a sleeping giant in ad town, I would say.
Understanding news is like, yeah, is that big sort of gap that we're seeing, especially with younger people who didn't grow up reading the news or grew up to not trust the news or to be told not to trust the news.
Mm,
Like people older than like 30 all kind of read the news or watched the news or like had an experience with news that it was like, interesting or like um at least for a certain part of their life they probably had some sort of regard for it as
mm.
like a respectable source of truth.
But
Um
also of entertainment, right? Because like when I was growing up, my parents it was like the 6 o'clock news. It was this ritual. You'd sit down and you'd find out what was going on in the country and the world. But
it was interesting.
you're there to be yeah, you're there to be entertained. Like, yes, it's like oh, serious stuff
You would
and
admit that though. No one admits that.
no, but it's the same as like the ad the ad that informs is more powerful or more deeply powerful in many ways than the ad that just purely sells. And the
Yeah.
editorial or the news that entertains is always going to be more powerful than like I remember writing an article once. I used to work in print journalism. That's how old I am. And it was my first ever like report, submitting a story for the newspaper. And I started with the weather. I said, "Oh well, conditions." It was a sports report. It was for an athletics event, and I'll never forget the editor. he printed out the draft, sat me down and said, right, a couple of things. First thing, never start with the weather. Start in the action. Get me excited. And it's like, now that's happening in like a small newsroom in the early 2000s. Like these people looked down on advertising, you know, and
Mm.
yet there they were sort of teaching advertising without wanting to admit it.
Big thing hooks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I learned as well over time is like you'd write things and then you try to make it like good writing, but you kind of learn immediately that like you oftentimes people will bury the leads, they'll bury like the point people care about, and you got to like kind of, especially like when it comes to like your headline always is your own thing. Like no one really tries to bury that too much, but like
Mm,
your lead, like your first sentence, your first like what, 5 sentences,
mm,
like bearing the point people care about, bearing the point that isn't like, especially even using AI, a lot of people will use AI and just like let it run and let it do its
mm,
thing. But you gotta fucking like you gotta whip that thing. You gotta be
mm.
like, is this in the research? Like, has this been said by anyone that we've researched? Like, is this, is this a
Yep.
common sentiment in the market that's unsaid or maybe even said? And a lot of the time it's like, no, well, I just kind of made it up, like,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where
Yeah.
that that's kind of where people get AI wrong. It's like this is like your bitch. You gotta know how to get it get it to do what it's supposed to do and get it to help you. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's where like the sort of human parts come in. That's where understanding comes in. That's where like you need to prime your brain as well as prime your AI to like understand what we're doing and what the point of the advertorial is and who this person is.
So when you're doing this first client that we talked about and you've, made them like 50 million in your first year, are you using AI at that point, or does the AI sort of epiphany come later for you? Because just for anyone watching this, like I've started referring to you as the AI Advertorialnator because you're sort of like a artificially intelligence augmented advertorial
I am
specialist at
artificially
this point.
intelligent. That's true.
Yeah, yeah. Artificially intelligent or genuinely
Yeah.
ignorant? Yeah, take your pick. But yeah, t just
100%.
tell me a bit about, yeah, when does AI come into it? Because at this point, you're doing a lot of these for a lot of different people, and
Yeah,
you're producing a lot and you're shipping a lot, right?
100%. Yeah, so I adopted AI pretty early on. Kind of around this time I sort of started copywriting because for one thing, I wasn't super confident. That's a big part of it. But I also was a bit lazy and I also wanted to get things done faster so I could enjoy my life more. Um, so I started using it from the start, but there was a lot more sort of back and forth. There was a lot more sort of like rewriting. There was a lot more changing things. And let me be honest, like my first advertorials were not good. Like like they weren't really that great. I think there's a bit of like a curve on the 50 million, like a hockey stick kind of situation. But yeah, but it took me a while. It took me a while to kind of get how to write these things and how to talk, and AI got better as well, so that helped as well. But yeah, it was using it from the start. I just kind of like basically what I did was I was so interested in this topic that I just was looking everywhere for advertorial stuff. And back in the day, like well, this isn't back in the day, this is like what, 2 years ago. There wasn't a lot of stuff out there, like back in my day. I think things move fast these days, so that's actually like a while ago. But there wasn't a lot of advertorial stuff you could get. Like there wasn't any courses. There wasn't like um it was you could get like these really long YouTube videos, they'd be like 2 hours, and I would just like watch the whole thing and you take notes and um yeah, I'd just be looking all sorts of different places for it. And there just wasn't really much. Like it was kind of a dark art. And it still kind of
Mm,
is in a lot of ways. A lot of stuff you see on YouTube these days is like drop shippers making content about advertorials. And some things they do are pretty cool, but like a lot of it is just like take a swipe, tell AI to make it about this product.
yeah.
And it's kind of like a spray and pray. Like, you can kind of keep testing advertorials that are done by AI. But,
Yep.
a lot of the gold comes in the editing. It comes in the research. It comes in the figuring out what the beliefs are that are holding people back from buying. Because if people are like, you send people to a product page and they're not buying for whatever reason, like generally there's beliefs in the way, there's objections that need to be handled. There's other solutions that they haven't like that they're still like, oh maybe I'll try magnesium instead, or maybe I'll try this instead. So an advertorial is that space to like engage, educate, and then persuade into the call to action, make them actually like want to have the beliefs installed where they can buy and be like, yeah, that was a good
Mm.
purchase.
There's
So
something I'd like to talk about with you as far as this goes because, um, well, I mean, it's probably no secret uh, that we're working together on corsifying all of this stuff and sharing it with people in the coming weeks. And one of the most impressive things to me when I'm looking through the system and I guess like the lore or the info that you've created around the system, which is extremely thorough, is this buyer's pyramid situation where you have this 3% versus 97%. And I would say like 99% of people that are trying to, use copywriting in the ecom market, they're going in and just they're all squabbling over this little
yeah.
piece of territory because 97% of people they're not ready, they don't have prior knowledge. There's all of these reasons why going straight to a hard ad is just not going to work. So one of the things it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like these results, like doing nearly a mil a week for 12 months and so on and so forth. And I know you've got many other clients that are doing spectacularly well with this stuff. It's like a kind of laser beam that thaws out that frozen 97% of people and they just start
Yeah.
flooding to your ad because the competition are just like, here's my thing, buy it, get two for one or whatever the sort of shitty half-assed offer is.
Mm.
And I compare that to the stuff that I'm seeing that you're producing, which is long, in-depth, extremely well targeted. And we can get into the sort of different phases of exactly how you create it in a second. But can you just explain to me a little bit about this buyer's pyramid melting ice cube situation?
Yeah, so it's a pretty well known. Well, it's spoken about a lot, right? That 3% of your market's ready to buy now. And people say that a lot, and they use it to sort of sell different things, but it's true. Like, and I think the biggest display of that is like, if you see an ad and then think about it for a bit, and then like something happens in your life. Like Joe Sugarman has this great situation, like a story in his Triggers book where he talks about he knew this guy who was a selling insurance, and Joe Sugarman was always like, "No, I don't need that. Go away, leave me alone." And then like some point in the future after this, after he'd been like hassled by this guy, his neighbor down the road died, and they started like carrying him out on like a thing, and then
Mm,
it suddenly became real for him. He was like, "Oh my God, yeah, I could just die. Like, I need to get health insurance." They gave him a call. Like, this is like, not everyone's ready to buy now. Most people are not. Most people have like beliefs, issues, they're trying other things. And that's where like an
mm.
advertorial comes in. And you can kind of like chip into this like
By the way, I
pyramid.
can I can imagine one of your like exquisite AI generated images of someone coming out of the neighbor's house on a stretcher now. I think this might be something you might want to look into.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I have to write an advertorial for this. Um, But yeah, you see it in your own life, and you don't really notice it because in your brain you just focus on like the next thing you're gonna do. But yeah, you become aware that you just enter the market suddenly. You see an ad and it doesn't really resonate because you're like, I'm more interested in like some other thing, or that couldn't work, or and then you hear like someone else used it and they're like, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe it works. But what an advertorial is like a condenser of time
Mm,
and a condenser of like objection handling to like change the way that you're thinking about this thing in a way that's accessible and and enjoyable and like you're kind of unaware of it. It's like, putting someone through like it's kind of a VSL does the same thing. Like it's kind
Mm,
of like making them see that this is like the answer, but in like a condensed way. The thing about the VSL is it's a lot more sort of it uses aggression more, whereas an advertorial
mm,
is softer and it's more approachable and it's like people will share an advertorial like an article. Like people will be
mm.
like, "Oh my God, I just read this like blog and I don't know if you know this, but yeah, you can like I don't know, I can't think of an example, but but like you can do this and it's crazy and it works like this and there's all this proof and it's like um yeah, like this is kind of what the point of the advertorial is.
That's
Um,
something that I think a lot of copywriters and sort of entrepreneurs don't talk about enough with copy and with ads. The advertorials do amazingly well. Is it like it is enjoyable and engaging and interesting to read in and of itself, which
yep.
is that's like kind of at the core of like tapping into this 97% that most people just cannot access. Um, could you just walk me through, I guess, in the simplest terms as possible, your core advertorial structure? Like, I know it changes like per client and per product
Yeah.
and so forth, but what's your sort of base case for how you set one of these up?
I often reach for the story advertorial um of the person in the market telling the story about it. That's kind of my go-to. I do some more medical ones where it's like a doctor talking about it. Listicles are a really good one, like in between. If a client or like someone is like, I want to do an advertorial, but I don't understand it, or it's too hard, or it's too expensive to test, or whatever. A listicle is like a great, just like little in between where it's like this is like there's a promise up the front, like 10 reasons to do this, or ten benefits of whatever. And it's like contained and it's like easy to read. There's nothing too crazy going on there. So that's a good little in between. But if I'm going for a story, generally I'll I'll make it look really native. I'll make it look like it's a blog. I'll do my due diligence with research, especially around the lead. I think the lead you got to really like you can do AI research and that's great. That's I use it all the time. Um, but I also like going in and looking at like just like YouTube comments, Reddit, and just finding like what are the words people use? What are the situations coming up? What is like the thing that everyone's going to say like yes to, or like a majority of this market's going to say yes to. So good strong lead, setting up situation, and then we want to set up the journey to like now of like a long road of like failures. Because no one's
Mm,
buying anything and it's like you're the first thing they've tried. Because they're just
mm,
like, unless it's like you could do a really unaware one, but you know, that's pretty hard to do. Generally, most people have tried to fix something, and if they're going to spend money on it, generally they're like, "This is annoying me. I really want to sort this out." To spend money on it, so there's usually a long list of things um, that they've invested in that haven't worked for whatever reasons, and you find those reasons. Like, why did this not work for them? What's the problem with this drug or with this treatment or with this therapy? Um, yeah, I think a lot of people skip that and they just go like, "I was struggling." And then I saw a
mm,
Facebook ad for this one product. And then I was like, yeah, like no one does that.
mm,
That's like people are skeptical. People are
mm,
like we're in 2025 now. We've had drop shippers, we've had affiliate marketers, we've had people doing smashing people in the face with DR for like 20 years
mm.
on the internet. More than that. 30 years probably. Um, so people are skeptical. People have tried it all. People have like got objections everywhere. And you got to kind of like dig that out. Um, so Yeah, so we've got our strong lead, we've got our story till now, we've got our skeptical kind of discovery of the product. So generally it's like, I didn't really like, I saw it and I was like, that can't work. Then someone I
Mm.
know tried it, or whatever reason I had to come for it to come back in my life. And then you kind of explain like how it worked in like a really tactile way that sort of like
Yeah.
how did I experience this? Like
Like
first day I tried it.
sensory and emotional, isn't it?
Sensory, emotional, like, make it like curious. Like, oh yeah, I felt it was like this, and I tried it, and it didn't work for the first like few days, and I was like, I've just been scammed again. What is going on?
Yeah.
And then you kind of like bring out the benefits, and you bring it, and you make it like, when people see things change in their life, usually it's pretty far, it's pretty slow.
Yeah.
It's a miracle thing where something like changes really fast, but you don't want to go, oh, this was like a miracle thing because people are like, oh wow, it's an ad, obviously. Like the whole point of the advertorial is it's like selling is just like the tiny little bit at the end. Like selling, I always say it's like a sales page is like 70% selling and like 30% education.
Mm.
Like you could have a museum or something. Whereas an advertorial is like 70% education and like 30% selling. So
Yeah, it's like you're describing like persuasive realism. And this is where that
mm,
journalistic rigor and that editorial side comes in.
yeah,
So that's kind of your skeleton for how you build these things. I want to
yeah,
talk about, well, I'd like to talk about images, but maybe before we do that, actually let's talk about images because the images that you create for these things is another aspect of like where you're marrying the power of AI and all of that compute that's at your disposal if you know how to wrangle it, which is not as simple as, like you say, you drop a document in GPT and go, make this good. It's like, good luck with that. But
make
yeah,
no mistakes.
let's yeah. You're a 3,000-year-old copywriter, and yeah, um, but yeah, how does the image side marry up with the copy side?
Yeah, I mean,
Because I've seen your images, and someone in the guild shared one the other day that they'd used, your early version of your system for, and I was like, man, that is you. It's not like, oh, that's real. You don't need it to be like photo
no,
realistic, but it's the
but
specificity
they're
and the
getting there
detail of
now.
it.
Like
Yeah,
a lot of ones coming out now. Especially Nano Banana Pro, Grok Imagine, I'm using a lot too. Like they're
yeah,
becoming really like realistic looking. But that's not the point. No, the point is just the storytelling, and it's like, it's meant to look native. It's meant to look like someone who's, especially if you're doing like a story style advertorial where it's like writing a blog. Like if you're doing a listicle that's like kind of brandy,
mm,
design that if you want. Yeah, if you're doing like, there is a kind of branded advertorial which is kind of common these days, and you see that a lot. But I don't think it makes a difference to like, even if you're writing it as a brand to make it like high def, like brandy. I think it hurts it honestly, because no one
yeah,
gives a fuck about your brand.
yeah,
Like a lot of brands need to know this. No one, you don't have a brand. Most brands aren't brands. They're just like, you've got a logo and you've got like and some people like know who you are. But if you're converting cold traffic,
yeah.
your brand doesn't exist to them.
This is
Like cold traffic,
such a good point, man. Like I see so often, particularly on the timeline, people go, "Oh, I've scaled a $30 million ecom brand," or the word brand belongs in the world of brand advertising, and in the world
yeah,
of cold traffic and stuff. What you have is a funnel, and does the funnel
love
work, and
that.
do the components of the funnel perform, and do they are they congruent?
Yeah,
That's
100%.
just a little side rant. Sorry, but you triggered me.
No, I agree. I agree. And I think it kind of I think brand is a word that's used if you're like selling trending to like new it's like if you're in the biz op of like e-commerce, you want to talk about brands. But if
Mm,
you're in like direct response, you'll talk about funnels or offers. Like because they're different worlds and everyone
yeah.
who's like wants to get into e-com is like or people who, or if you're in brand advertising as well, you might talk about brand. Yeah, a lot of the agencies I work with, they're like, it's like, oh, they wanted to stick to the brand guide and this and that. And I'm like, cool, but like there's no the brand guide is just make believe. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like we're
How about we make some fucking money?
yeah, how we make fucking $100 million business first.
Yeah.
Anyway, a bit of an aside. But yeah, I like images that are ugly, that are intriguing, that are like, they grab
Yes.
you and they're like easy, they're like, they put relief on the eyes when you're scrolling through this like thing on your phone. You're like, oh wow, that's cool. Well, or like,
Yeah.
oh wow, what is this?
Yeah.
It's like the classic native advertising thing where it's like, I love the bottle with like the lemon and the peppercorns and like whatever, and it's like drink this tonight to lose 30 pounds overnight, and it's
Mm,
like, what is that? What is that
mm,
drink? What are you doing? It's
mm.
like that's where advertorials shine is when you can imbue that curiosity piquing like things that like you draw people back in. Like if your images are just like stock footage, like stock images, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, man. What are you doing? Get that
Yes.
stock
Yeah.
footage out. Make it
So,
weird.
at the risk of contradicting ourselves, um, the misuse of the word brand and stuff. Uh, Well, let's talk about the man in the Hathaway shirt because that's a situation where a remarkable image, obviously pre-AI, but there's no reason you can't use AI to create remarkable
Mm.
images of that type. That's a situation where a brand was born on a piece of remarkable
Well,
direct
this
response
that
advertorial copy.
yeah, this is the point. This is the confirms the point. Like that, there was no brand until the advertorial made the brand. Like it,
Yeah,
until it did so well and got so much curiosity that it created this character that they reused again and again.
yeah,
And that's where the brand comes in. Like, your cold traffic conversion more often than not becomes the brand. Like everyone likes to start the brand with the colors and the logo. But
yep,
like if no one knows who you are, if you want sales today, like you're making that up. Like you could make it up to like sell to the audience. Like you got to figure out what's gonna make people interested. Like
yep.
people don't care about like the other stuff.
So if we, I want to talk about, there's a couple of specific ways to use the system that you're building or that you're
Mm.
perfecting actually, because you sort of piloted the system a few months ago for a small group of people. Um, and I guess the headline is at in a perfect situation, this AI system that you've built can produce a really good advertorial in 47 minutes, which is insane and not
Mm.
necessarily typical. Like if you put in more research and more work, obviously you're going to get a better piece at the end. But talk me through firstly the benefits of this of advertorials and doing advertorials your way for ecom businesses. I was going to say brands, but for ecom people, because I know for a fact that you're seeing a lot of instances where people are halving acquisition costs and doubling conversions, like the sort of headline critical numbers in an ecom funnel.
Mm.
This thing is just incredibly impactful on. So, and then we'll talk about like copywriters and freelancers and people serving this industry. But yeah, first tell me a little bit about how does this impact ecom businesses?
Yeah. So I feel like I said, I think it's a bit of a dark art for people. And a lot of people sort of, if they go in and they don't really understand what the advertorial is doing. And I think that's part of the reason why this system really helps is because you walk through each step and you understand what's happening at each level. And you go, actually, okay, that makes sense. So then we're doing that. And then we're doing that. And then we're doing that. Oh, that makes sense. And that's you kind of once you kind of walk through it, you kind of see wow, if I just like took a swipe and was like, write an advertorial like this, there's no way I'd get this kind of stuff. Like it's walking like it's almost like walking the customer through like the discovery process. It's like that's kind of the difference between like, between this or like just writing it by yourself, which you could do, but it takes a long time. It really does. But yeah, that's kind of where the difference lies. And I think the benefit of advertorials is it's that it works. Like I know a lot of people compare it to like a product page directly, and
Mm,
sometimes conversion rate's complicated. Like it's like you've got a product page and people going there from Google and like email coming back, like previous buyers and like other ads. So like if you compare these two on like a pure conversion rate level, it becomes like it can be like a bit iffy. Like, but if you compare it on like the total funnel acquisition cost. You've got some people going through this advertorial, some people going through this product page. Like it comes down because you've got more people coming through for less ad spend. Like
yeah,
it's bringing the overall performance up and the cost down.
yeah.
So that's kind of why it's so cool for like an ecom brand, especially if you're in the health space, if you're in like D2C, like supplements, like this, generally, I think nearly everyone, if you're using like a little bit of a direct response kind of approach, can use an advertorial. Even like a listicle, if you're doing like fashion or
Mm.
something. Like, there's always room for direct response in these industries.
And
Most
this
people
is
just don't
all
understand it.
while sort of doing it this way, like you're getting these benefits across the funnel and the ad spend and everything. But this is all while sort of focusing a laser on the iceberg of that 97% generally
100%.
unaddressed. So you're expanding your total addressable market at the same time.
You are. Yeah. Yeah. It's not like the actual market, but it's the people who are in the market at
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
So you're spending that 3% to like, maybe 20,
Yeah, it's not
30%.
total
Plus.
addressable market. It's like
Yeah.
total viable market or something, perhaps compared to
Yeah.
just a cold funnel.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. That's the real sort of magic in there.
Yeah.
And
So this
yeah.
is
And this
why
is,
your clients in Thailand were like, yeah, can you do more stuff? Because they're quietly just like this machine is printing.
yeah. Yeah. And I think I haven't heard from them in a while. I think they're just on the beach somewhere, just chilling out, loving life.
Yeah.
Next time I'm
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Thailand, I might go see them and see what's going on. But
I'll meet you there.
yeah, I've been hanging for the Thailand trip. Thailand's my favorite place.
Yeah, it's magic. Um,
Mm,
and that's a good segue actually, because I know a lot of freelance copywriters, like back in the day, Thailand was one of the first places that I started like working remote and freelancing and doing
yeah,
client work and stuff. So the last time that you shared, well, when you shared like I guess the V1 of this system with people in a small workshop that we ran, what, August maybe?
it was
Um,
August. Yeah,
that was very much for copywriters. It was here's how you
yeah,
can use this thing to become like a really uniquely valuable direct response person in the marketplace. So I guess just, yeah, tell me a bit about because you're a freelancer. You're very like
yeah.
these days. I know you're a lot more involved with your clients, and you have some partnerships and some rev shares, and you're a lot more involved in the business side. But when you were just freelancing doing this stuff, like what has this done for you? I guess how's it changed your work and helped you make money and have more freedom?
Yeah, when I was kind of getting into the copywriting as a service as a freelancer, um, I kind of everyone the whole thing was like you're gonna write emails to people, like you're gonna do this,
Yeah.
you're gonna be in Klaviyo, you're gonna be in Active Campaign and writing emails to everyone. And I was back then I was like, I don't really want to do that. I was like, everyone else is doing this.
Yeah.
Everyone else has got this the same thing that they're offering.
Yeah.
They're like all doing the same DM messages on Instagram, doing the same message. And I was like, I was speaking to the mentor that I paid like 6 grand to be with, and I was like, hey, do you think I could just like focus on advertorials? And he was like, yeah, you could probably do that. Is your copy good enough? And I was like, well, I don't know, I guess. Like, I'm just kind of figuring this out as I go. Um, But advertorials, yeah, it stood out to me as like this cool, like interesting, like underserved market that no one knew how to do. And yeah, like no one had spoken about like how to do them. There was no modules and courses like, and this is how you write an advertorial. Everything else got attention, VSLs, sales pages, emails like 1,000 times. But I was like, well, let me go into this. Let me look at this. And just being able to like write them, I think I ended up getting a lot of opportunities that like I don't think I would have otherwise. Like, because a lot of people are like, does anyone know anyone, or do you know how to do it? A lot of my clients have come from like inbound on Upwork, or just on my profile because my profile is advertorial specific.
Mm.
Um, I got a new one a few weeks ago, an Aussie guy, and he's like, "Yeah, we've never made advertorials work. Do you think we could able to do it?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go." And it's looking good actually. It looks like we're gonna have one that's working really well. He actually offered me a full-time job the other day, and I was like, no. It's like that's not for me. I was like, that's
Yeah.
not how this is. Um, but yeah, no, it's kind of allowed me to get to my next level and enjoy what I'm doing a lot. Like I just hate being in Klaviyo, man. In Klaviyo, like just doing the email thing. Something about it just rubs me the. I don't mind emailing people like, as myself or, sending them occasionally. But if I was in Klaviyo all day, every day, 7 days a week,
Mm.
yeah, not for me. I'm not going to be that guy. But
Yeah, you
advertorials,
don't get to stretch your legs nearly as much in terms of like research and angles and ideas, and obviously like the deeper you go into DR copy, the closer you get to the big idea. And
yeah,
that's where it's really interesting. Like a lot of the work is done in that research and just speaking with people and trying to find something. So I can understand that completely. But I know that since I met you and we started doing some work together, you've had like multiple best months ever. And this has been, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like most of the time when I check in with you, you're like, yeah, I fired another client. I fired another client. So it's like the clients, the quantity's going down and the quality and the revenue is just coming up. And it's
Yeah.
all because you've built this machine and it's really powerful and really unique and it just works. It just seems to work,
Yeah.
relentlessly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's given me a lot of confidence as well, just to be able to know at least that I've got a pretty good number that I've made that I can look at that I can go, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Give me the confidence just to be like, no, we're done, and just like go for bigger clients and go, yeah, I can do advertorials pretty confidently. Um, they don't work every time. Like sometimes you just like, but that like it's like anything. It's like you optimize it. Sometimes it's a whole new advertorial. Most of the time it's just like headline changes.
Yeah.
And if you base them on like already winning angles or performing angles, like use the same copy that's in like their winning VSL or that's been performing in other ways. Like it's just so much easier. Like a lot of people,
Mm.
this is what I did when I first started, and I kind of realized this more recently, but people try to like think outside the box or like let's go for a different angle or let's try
Let's go
this new
crazy.
product. Let's go. Yeah, let's try to be I think copywriters and I think you can do this with like brand email stuff. Like you can be creative and that's actually like it's valued and it's rewarded. But in DR it's not. Like creativity is not valued in DR. You can be creative in an offer maybe, but
Mm.
definitely not in copy.
What it is like I would defend like creativity, but it's creativity for creativity's sake. That's a problem in
Yeah.
DR.
You can take a creative angle on something already working. Like
Yeah.
that's different. But if you're coming into it like I'm gonna write a story, I'm gonna be a writer, I'm gonna do this, I'm a
Mm.
copywriter. I'm a lot of and I think there's this period for most beginners where they go through that. They're like get absorbed in the idea of being a writer, a copywriter, and they're like, yeah,
Mm.
I want to be creative. But
Yeah, you're
you
more
got to
of an
remember that,
engineer, like you're
yeah.
collecting data and that saying success leaves clues. There is this sort of forensic aspect to this work, and particularly with the advertorial system. And that's like the research step that you've built is really, really good for that. It's like, here's what's working, dude. Like this is literally the blueprint. It's not going to be
Mm,
some wildly original creative thing. But I found this too, like the more I wrote sales letters for Agora, the simpler they became over time
yeah.
because found I was like, the more creative I try to be, the more obstacles I'm sort of putting between me and the reader and the benefits and so forth. So by the end, it was like five stocks that we think are going to go up in the next 12, really, really simple, basic stuff.
100%. And basic is what scales. And I think
That's the
everything
soundbite
that
right
you
there. Basic is what scales.
Yeah, everything that you put in that's unproven is a potential reason they'll click off.
Yeah.
And it's taken me a while to learn this lesson myself. That's why I'm giving it to everyone because I'm like, don't make my mistakes. Like everything that you put in there that's a little bit creative or a little bit or even an AI hallucination, which is why you need to be, strict with it,
Yeah.
is like a reason for them to go, that's not true. I don't believe this. This isn't right. This isn't my experience. And that's why you want to kind of stick to stick to these people's truth and
Yeah.
like figure out what that is and like put it in there and make it clear and don't make it complicated and don't combine avatars or
Mm.
anything like that. Just try to like speak to one person. And that's part of my system is like, do the research, find the person, discover their beliefs, and then you write it and then refine it and everything. But yeah,
So that tees us up nicely for I don't know how long we've been speaking, but we should talk about what did you say earlier? A good advertorial is 70%. telling and 30% selling. I think we've reached the transition point. So we need to talk about the system, and we
Yeah.
need to talk about the fact that in January you're launching this for the first time ever as a course, as a sort of self-paced, self.
Yeah.
It is a course, but it's more than that. It feels kind of plug and play to me from what I've seen. Is that
Mm.
a fair thing to say? Just tell me a bit about the course and how the course came to be
Yeah.
and what
So
people can expect.
a lot of people hear course and they go, it's just like a stack of videos, and you're gonna like, it's almost like I got to do my homework and I got to chug through this thing. I've tried to keep this really lean. I'm
Mm,
like thinking about I'm thinking about one avatar really, but well, technically two, but I'm thinking about the people who are going through this, and I'm like, what do they want? Well, you need a little bit of like a mindset shift for a lot of people.
mm,
You need a little bit of like pitfalls on where you're likely to go wrong. And then you just need like a little bit of background information on what an advertorial is, just so you understand. Because like if I just gave you the system and you were like gonna run that, you don't really understand when things break. And I want people to be able to like take this, plug it in like for clients, plug it in for their own business, like put together like a, four advertorials, split test them, and just like, find one that scales. And generally you do. Like when you put it together properly, you do the research and like generally like something works.
mm.
It's based on proven angles. What was I up to? Oh yeah, that it's just like it's made to be easy, made to work, and made to like just give you the knowledge that you can make these easily. It's like I said, this is a bit of a dark art in a lot of ways. Like there's still not much information on there, and maybe you can, go through YouTube and find some stuff. But this is just like step by step walking you through exactly how to produce these fast at a high rate. And you can outsource like a lot of this stuff to people. Like my images that I do for tutorials these days, I've got like some girls that I outsource to. So I just write the tutorial in like, an hour. All right, I put all together all the prompts. I send them the prompts and the advertorial, and they just like generate them all, plug them in. I give it like one last check, and then I hand it for the client. And a lot of the time it ends, yeah, it's like 2 hours work.
Yeah.
So it ends up being pretty fast. I mean, if you're building it out yourself or you're doing other parts, like it might take a bit longer. But yeah, it's a pretty useful system, and I use it nearly every day. Anytime I do an advertorial, it's like I just do
Yeah.
it. It's just like automatic.
Yeah. And we've had a bunch of people have like used the early version of this already. I know that one person in the group, I believe it was about 4 hours from going through the material to shipping an advertorial, and very shortly, I think saw like a 30 or 35% reduction in
Yeah,
cost of acquisition, which is
yeah,
like, that's just one metric. But that alone, like if you're a large ecom business, for example, or a freelancer serving an ecom business for that matter, like 4 hours from I watched this thing and I changed the way I used AI and I sort of got in the advertorial mindset, that's a
yeah.
huge, meaningful result to me.
Absolutely. You don't get that from emails, from being an email copywriter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
You're not going to get that from changing the color on the logo and the header image.
you know, it's got to be in the
Yeah.
brand color though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they are powerful, especially like brands that want to scale. Like you're almost kind of a bit silly if you're not running some kind of funnel stuff for an ecom brand, unless you're like, I don't know, the most D2C product ever.
Yeah.
But even like, Ridge Wallet, they run listicles and advertorials. Like, don't need much of a education for a wallet, but like, these things
Yeah.
they care about advertising, and so eight
Yeah.
or nine figure brands are using this kind of stuff to scale.
Yeah.
Um, so everyone else should as well, as far as I'm concerned. Like, it's not gonna. I don't think this is like your business is dying. This is like your last, your last send it before your business collapses. Like
No,
that's
it's a
not really
force
what this is.
multiplier for sure. It's a
100%.
And I don't want to say it's like, it's not about saving time so much as getting more out of the time that you put in. Because when
Yeah.
you work on copy or you build a funnel, you're putting in energy. And
Yeah.
like I've seen so much AI stuff, and there's all these people with all these hot takes, and I use AI for this and blah 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 blah. But your system is the first one that I've seen, which is why I was so like pumped to help you promote the workshop and stuff in August, because it's this it's this sort of symbiotic relationship between like the best human sides of direct response and just the pure potential of AI. You're not using AI as a crutch, you know.
No.
You're not feeding raw docs in and hoping for some shortcut. That is just a surefire way rather to kind of fuck yourself over, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you could follow the prompts yourself and put it together if you wanted. If you wanted, like, that's the idea behind it. It's like that the principles is like
Yes.
you're building an argument in this advertorial, and but using the enhanced speed and intellect and context of the AI to put that together really fast.
Yeah.
And because it's become so powerful, like it's yeah, a way to just like put things together that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. At speeds that would take you way longer that to to get your life back as well. Like, just like super speed things at high quality that, most people aren't doing. Most people writing advertorials are not doing this stuff. And yeah, the only reason I know how to do this stuff is because I just did so many. I did so much volume in a year that I was like, I got to figure out how to get this right. I got to figure out how to do this
Mm,
faster. I got to figure out how to convert these more, make this convert more so I get more work out of it. So
mm.
yeah,
So what's next for you? Like you have people obviously like lining up to give you full-time jobs, and I know that you have like a really one of your advertorial clients rather has become you're sort of in a business partnership now, and you're
yeah, yeah. Well, looking at it, I've kind of had this approach to it a lot recently. I'm like, what's the highest leverage manifestation of this skill? Like, and for a while I was like, I want to make 100K per advertorial with a client, and then I kind of thought about it, and I was like, why would any client want to give me 100K? Even if I make them like $1 million, you're still like
mm.
100K bill. People always look at like what they're losing rather than what they're gaining. So
Oh,
I
the
think,
list of stories of like the rev share contract and then the rev share reality when someone's like, I have to pay you how much?
yeah,
And
yeah,
then it gets like people lawyer up and stuff because they can't let go, you
can't,
know.
yeah, 100%. So I think the
It's
next
like I
manifestation,
made you 900 grand. It's like, no, you cost me 100 grand, you know.
yeah, man, hey, it's not their fault really. It's just like human nature, and you got to kind of like align things with human nature a lot of the time. So I think probably my own offer is on the table in the next year.
Yeah,
Um, Me and my brother-in-law, who you know about, he's a very, very good creative strategist, and we'll probably go into something next.
yeah,
And going to be advertorials involved, definitely going to be the system involved,
yeah.
and yeah, hopefully yeah. I'm looking forward to it actually. I'm quite excited to get started with this, but obviously I want to put together the system right now and like iron all that out. Um,
Yeah, so we
yeah,
have it's going to be available for 1 week in January. Um, we don't know how many people will use it. One objection that I've thought of is like we have a bunch of people who are going to promote this as we did last time, actually, because the workshop sold out in like 5 minutes, it felt like. Um, but you say that the advertorial market is woefully underserved,
yeah.
and the discipline, I suppose, in the process is like overlooked and slept on by ecom businesses. How many people have to have the system before the system becomes less effective? Like if 5,000 people had your system, would it hinder you doing your work?
I've thought about this actually,
Yeah.
and
Because it's like at the moment, it's like, and I would say this because I'm helping you promote it, but it's like the best kept secret in DR/ecom, in my opinion.
honestly, I've been like for a while. I was like, do I want to share this? Like, I use this so much, and like, I'm doing more content
Yeah.
for myself, and you have this kind of. It's like we just spoke about how you're scared of what you're going to lose.
This is why you've
Um,
sabotage the product, right? So the people who
This
use
is
it are
why I
gonna,
put a
yeah,
I put a bomb in it. Yeah.
yeah,
No, what was I going to say? Yeah, I don't think so. I think the ecom market is so big, and you don't have to
same.
use it like it doesn't have to even have to be ecom. You can use it in all sorts of industries. Like, I think you said one of your mates did it for your business as well, and like it actually ended up pretty cool.
Yeah, that which is yeah, financial technology SaaS business, and
Mm,
I know it's been yeah, there's info, there's ecom, there's tech, there's tons of stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people like a lot of people don't use things when they learn them. Like
Mm.
they for whatever reason they start and then they stop and they don't use it and they go back to what's comfortable. Um, but yeah, I think everyone's using AI, but most people aren't really educated on how to use AI. I think that's a big gap. Like even if 5,000 people have this, like there's still like, well, if you're a brand, there's still like no one's doing it for your brand for your product.
Yeah.
Maybe they're in your industry, but you can just sort of step in and make it your own. If you're a service provider, like there's only so many, even if using AI, there's only so many people that one company or one person can like service. Like there's like millions and millions of like ecom brands out there wanting to test pages, wanting to like test funnels, wanting to like, push this. So yeah, man, I feel like the people that learn this
It's
better.
also like I've seen a lot of yours and I've seen a lot of ones that other people have used use in your system. And
Mm,
one of the most impressive things is this isn't like some cookie cutter situation where it spits out the same kinds of advertorials. There's so much
yeah,
human agency and nuance involved in particularly in the research, the positioning, but in the edit as well. Like I can take a bunch of them that I've seen come out of this thing and I can be like, oh, that's one of Sam's.
yeah,
It doesn't flatten, do you know what I mean? Which is really
yeah,
important because like been I've worked for people before who've come to me and they're like, no, like we want you to write the copy. We don't just want some copy. So I've said it a couple of times, like this thing's like a force multiplier, and one of the things that I feel like it multiplies is your unique position in the copywriting marketplace.
100%. I think one thing that the system does, which is interesting, is it brings out your essence as a writer,
Mm,
uh, which is interesting because AI is really leveraged. Like it's used like at every step of the process, but it actually does bring out your essence and the way that you think about this market and the amount that you understand about them, the way that you've researched.
mm.
So yeah, it's quite interesting in that way that like, it isn't just a cookie cutter, like, there's no like, it's not like M dashes and fucking like it's not this, the common like AI isms. And
Oh,
also
it's not this, it's this. Man, that's got to go.
no X, no Y, just Z. Oh, kills me every time. I'm like,
Yeah.
brother, I would tell an AI, I would tell Claude to like sort its shit out. Like I will slap that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've told
Slap that.
GPT, I'm like, can you do this, but pretend that you're not you?
Yeah.
By the way, I
Yeah. I
just
don't
did
even
a cursory search on AI, of course, but there is no single precise number, but current estimates suggest around 25 to 30 million e-commerce businesses worldwide in 2025. So I think if a few thousand people have their hands on your system, it's going to be okay.
I think so too. Like how many people are using VSLs or how many people are using sales pages or like everyone on the internet is using those kind of things. No one's using advertorials. Like it's still
Yeah.
going to be a dark art if like 5,000 people start using it. Like I feel like people don't just don't understand how big the world is, man. It's like it's
Yeah,
this
I mean,
this
just look
little
at DR in itself, like copywriters. Like someone asked me the other night at dinner, what do you do for work? And I was like, oh, here we go. I'm going to say copywriter, and they're going to say, are you an intellectual property lawyer? Like this is happening in 2025, you know?
I feel like people know less people know about copywriting. Like it's just like it doesn't seem like it's gonna become like a household word.
No,
Like I think
no,
people do
because
know
most
about it.
people consume content and advertising, and very few people create. And I think that that's going to remain true forever,
Yeah.
probably.
And I think demand's actually going to go up for this kind of stuff because like Facebook's getting harder to advertise on. They've just got the Andromeda engine that's come out, so everything's like a bit more confusing for like even advertisers right now. But what happens with like these software updates and with like Facebook updates is that like for a while you can game a system, you can game
Yeah.
Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or whatever. There's new features and whatever, and they like you to use them.
The
But
house
it always
always
comes,
wins, dude.
yeah, it always comes back to DR principles, like principles of good advertising at the end of the day. Like
Yeah.
it always comes back to speaking to the client, speaking to the person who is going to buy or not, like understanding them, understanding their beliefs, their objections, and figuring out how to work through them, like essentially. So I think maybe some more people will understand how to do advertorials, but like at the end of the day, it's going to become more necessary for more and more people.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
hmm,
I think that's a really good place to leave it. We could talk about this all day.
we should.
Where can we send people to find you? Like, well, firstly, do you want people to find you online? Because I know that
Uh,
you're a little bit of a recluse, Sammy,
I'm
and
just
you
like
don't.
I'm just like a bit lazy with my personal brand stuff. I'm just like,
Yeah, you got
yeah,
better
but I
things to
think
do.
they'll get that fine. Well, they can find me. What's my Twitter? Sam BB Copy, I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah, you can find a bit of me there. I don't often post, but maybe I'll get back into that on the tail end of this, and I can yell at people about advertorials a bit.
I guess more importantly, if you want to get your hands on the system, where and when can they do that?
Do we have a date? I
I
think
believe
sometime
we're
in
penciled, it's like mid-January. We're penciled in for like January
mid-Jan.
12, I believe.
Yeah, I mean you're handling that end of it. I'm handling the product. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
guess
mid-Jan.
the reality is like if you're watching this, it's because you're on my email list, and my email list is the first place that's going to get a chance to see this. So
Yeah, yeah. I think that's. I'm excited for the people to get this because I've seen the few people that I have given this have done really cool stuff with it and
yeah,
have gotten really good results. And like I was actually shocked when I did when I showed everyone the first iteration of it. I was like, yeah, but surely I'm really important in this. Like, surely I'm the missing the secret sauce in the system. And people started doing it, sending it to me, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm not that important. Maybe we could just take this and run. So it is pretty comprehensive, and it's a pretty. I don't want to say it's foolproof, but like if you stick to it and you use it and you understand it, I think you get pretty good results. You get great results out of it. If you do the work, do the research, and you make it yours.
yeah, I agree. We'll leave it there,
Yeah.
man. This has been a great chat. Thank you for making the time.
Pleasure, man. Always a pleasure.